Hey guys, this is Brandon's Baseball Blogs. I wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be doing the sports interview with my friend Randy to talk about the incredible story of JCSR, literally about his journey from being a substitute teacher and an Uber driver to now being a full-time Yankees backup catcher to Austin Wells. And honestly, it's a really cool dream that he is doing that. We're also going to be talking about the John Cena, Cody Rhodes segment. We're going to talk about the CM Punk segment tonight. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the Judgment Day. And then we're going to talk about Jimmy and Jay teaming up for the first time since a year ago when they beat Roman and Solo. And also, we're going to also talk about how opening day is literally this Thursday and how baseball fans should be pumped up about it. And we're going to also talk about literally how the Yankees signed former Rays and former Dodger World Series champion pitcher Ryan Yarbrough today. And honestly, I think it's a really good move because it brings postseason World Series championship leadership to the team. He's a great pitcher. He never gives up. And even though he deals with injuries, he still comes back healthy and strong. In my opinion, on JCSR being called up to the big leagues finally, and now going from being an Uber driver to a substitute teacher, and now follows his dream to become a Yankee catcher, a backup catcher. JCSR, congratulations on being called up to the big leagues. You deserve it. I hope you have success because you did amazing. You had over a 337 batting average, 10 home runs, and he had over 24 RBIs, 20 hits, and 10 stolen bases. And also, you had 24 hits. And literally, you dominated spring training. You literally showed that you deserve to be in the big leagues. Welcome to the big leagues. Can't wait to see you make your Major League debut. And let's go! Opening day is this Thursday. Yankees, Brewers, Freddie Peralta versus Carlos Rodon. And Aaron Judge baseball starts this Thursday in the Bronx at 3:05 p.m. Here's my friend Randy. And here's my friend Randy.
Hola. Oh, sorry, I'm being aggressive.
So, Randy, what do you think about JCSR?
Okay, so it gives me a vibe from a former NFL player and a Hall of Famer from the Philadelphia Eagles.
What makes you think that?
Well, a former Philadelphia wide receiver almost had the same path as JC.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is he was a bartender in Philly.
Ah.
He was a substitute teacher, got fired as substitute teacher. But the difference is he loved the passion of football, but like how JC likes the passion of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two different sports, but the two passions for the sports that they love. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, the thing is, like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, being a substitute teacher sucks, but if you love the passion of teaching kids and teaching your students, that's cool. That's your job. That's your passion.
Yep.
But what sucks about being a teacher, like, you're doing all this stuff for college to become a teacher.
And it can be very stressful, but
what
he was able to.
You don't get paid that much as a teacher than you get paid as a sports athlete.
True. That's true. And what do you think of the spring training he had? And then Boone called him into the office and says, "You made the team."
That's an amazing feeling. When you get called for being part of the team, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of it? Opening day is literally this Thursday. And tomorrow is the last spring training game.
What, did you say the Brewers?
Milwaukee Brewers, Yankees this Thursday.
Oh, no, not Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Sorry, Milwaukee, but you had a bad man that we're not talking about, and he was a very bad man. And there's a documentary of him on Netflix. If you don't know who he is, go look it up. Jeffrey Dahmer.
Mm-hmm. And literally, what do you think of it? Tomorrow is the last spring training game. And this Thursday is actually opening day for all of baseball.
Well,
and that baseball is finally back.
I'm glad it's back.
Mm-hmm.
We had a long winter.
And off season with a lot of moves.
And we had a very, very bad storm in New York.
True.
So, I'm just glad, and this is a happy time for baseball season, that baseball is back. But the only thing that's not going to be happy is if there's a really bad rainstorm for, any area in the baseball teams, because then they have to,
postpone.
Either delay the game or postpone, or just, saying, hey, we're just postponing, go home, we'll refund your tickets, whatever.
True.
But at least, at least if they can, say, grab whatever you want of the freaking souvenir shop for free.
True.
That would be cool if they did that.
That's true. And also, Aaron Boone saw Juan Soto for the first time today, and he said, you don't look good in a Mets uniform. You look better in a Yankee uniform. But he also was joking around with Soto, and he said, I hope you have a good season as a good leader, and I hope you have success, but also we will miss you. But it will be a great time having you part of the Yankee-Mets rivalry. Aaron Boone is a great leader.
I think he should have been serious about you don't look good in the Mets uniform.
I understand that. And what do you think of this? That literally Yankees signed former Rays pitcher and former Dodgers player Ryan Yarbrough, who's a starting pitcher, for more depth in our starting rotation.
Okay, so the pitcher that said Ryan Def, he was the Dodgers pitcher, right?
Ryan Yarbrough.
He was the Dodgers pitcher, right?
He was first a Rays pitcher for many years, and then a Dodgers pitcher, and then a Blue Jays pitcher. And he's always done well, but he's always had a little bit of injury concerns. But he's always done well, and he's had more postseason experience. And it brings more depth to our starting rotation since losing Garrett Cole to Tommy John surgery.
Was he World Series champ?
I think he won it in last year with the Dodgers, or I think he came over from the Dodgers to the Blue Jays. But the Dodgers thanked him for all their work.
Okay, I was about to say, if he traded the Dodgers from last year and won a World Series last year with the Dodgers and beat the Yankees, now he can give some inner scoops for the Yankees to beat the Dodgers.
True. But what do you think? He brings really great veteran leadership to the Yankees also. And he brings more depth to the starting rotation after Garrett Cole's injury.
I mean, that means more to the... That means so much for the roster, to be honest. If we bring depth to the rotation, that means something. Because, not a lot of pitchers like to do that.
True. And what do you think of this? The Yankees announced today that Clark Schmidt will start the season on the IL, the injured list, but just because he missed a scheduled start because of a little soreness and a family emergency in spring training, but he's going to miss a little bit of time just to build up his pitches and be ready for his next start in the big leagues. What do you think of that?
That's not bad. That's actually good.
And what do you think of this? They did announce the Rays opening day starter, Shane McClanahan, who came into spring training fully healthy, has a inflammation problem in his elbow and his arm and his tricep. But literally, he hasn't been able to stay healthy, but he's now going to miss a little bit of time, only for 10 days, because of this injury. and it stinks for Rays fans. And what do you think of Gunnar Henderson, who's dealing with a sickness, is going to start the season on the injured list, but he misses only 10 days because of the illness? For Oriole fans, what do you think of all those injuries? But they're taking their extra time just to have them fully healthy.
It's insane what's going on with the injuries right now. But I just want to say shout out to the Garden family of the loss of their son. It's sad. We're praying for you and your son is in our prayers, and we wish the best for you guys.
True. And Brett Gardner was honestly one of the best Yankee players. He was known as the Rabbit for the Yankees because he was very fast and he was very loyal to the team. And what do you think of this? That Anthony Volpe said, before you give me number 11, I want to call Brett Gardner and ask him for permission to use his number.
That's that is the actual thing that a player should do, because if they want to use a player's number, and I have a feeling that he says after he retires, he's not going to retire as number 2. He'll retire as number 11.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll retire Brett Gardner's number 2 for what was Brett Gardner?
Brett Gardner wore number 11. Derek Jeter wore number 2, and Derek Jeter's number is retired by the Yankees.
That is the crazy thing. I would not expect someone to have the balls and audacity just to ask Derek Jeter to use his number. Derek Jeter is the GOAT of the Yankees.
And what do you think of Brett Gardner saying to Anthony Volpe, the top prospect, yes, you can use my number, after Volpe called him personally?
That is respect. And he has a mind of a gentleman, of a Yankee player.
True. And what do you think of the Yankees coming into the season, even though they're dealing with a bunch of injuries, but they still have really great veteran pitching and really good young superstar pitching, and they got some good players in general, and veteran leadership and good offense and young stars?
All right, kids, when you see this hand, this is called respect when you're on an interview. Now that my co-owner of the interview now let me speak, now I can speak, because that's called inner respect.
Mm-hmm.
So now I feel like this is going to be a challenge for the Yankees, no matter what. Every team in every sport has a challenge from whatever the skeptics are. Injuries, the young youth of the players. But like you said, they have really good veterans and young veterans, and also young players that are really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge because they have the best captain on the team, which is Aaron Judge.
That's true.
And I know for the fact the whole team is going to follow Aaron Judge's lead, because Aaron Judge is one of the greatest leaders. Which, if you people watch this video, this interview, and you don't agree, or you don't agree with what we're saying, I kind of respect your opinion. Doesn't mean it's a fact. That's your opinion. If you don't agree that Aaron Judge is a great leader, he's a great captain. Because in your point of view, in my point of view, captain, we see differently. What is the captain? You show up to your game. You lead your team to victory. If you lose, you hype up your team for the next game to win the next game. That's what a captain's supposed to do. It's like when you show up to work. What do you do when you show up to work? You show up to work, you do your job, you go home, you see your wife and kids, your girlfriend, whoever, whatever, yada, yada, yada. What is gym class? You show up, you participate, you hit the showers, you go to class.
That's true. And plus,
if you don't agree with me, then you're living under a rock.
And plus, Aaron Judge learned all this leadership from Derek Jeter.
Like I've been saying, if you like me or you hate me, but Derek Jeter is the GOAT. Even though I'm a Red Sox fan, my favorite player is David Ortiz.
He's one of my favorite players, too.
If you look at it, Derek Jeter is the GOAT of the Yankees. David Ortiz, a.k.a. Big Papi, is the GOAT of the Red Sox. There are different terms of how you feel of what you believe in of the GOAT. Like the GOAT of the NFL. Tom Brady.
That's true. In basketball, LeBron James, I think.
LeBron James, my favorite player. Hells yeah.
That's true.
Look at it. You can agree, you can disagree, but you can look at it. If you look at it, okay, the GOAT of NBA in his time was Michael Jordan.
That's true.
The GOAT in his time now is LeBron James.
That's true.
The GOAT in this time is right now Tom Brady. He's still alive. He's not playing, but he's still alive. No one has broke his records yet. What did LeBron James do? Broke Michael Jordan's records in multiple occasions, from free throws, 3 points in actual playoffs and in the NBA Finals. No one has done that yet. What did LeBron do that no one did in the NBA Finals? Won an NBA Finals from a 3-1 deficit. So if you don't understand, I am a Cavaliers fan. I am a big LeBron James fan. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. I accept everybody's opinion. I am an open-minded person.
I also want to send my condolences and my prayers to Brett Gardner and his family because it's a really bad loss. And I send my prayers and my condolences. And your family is in my prayers right now. And my family sends our condolences and our prayers to you. And all us Yankee fans and baseball fans send our prayers and condolences to you guys. So, my honest opinion, the Jimmy and Jay tag team, they were honestly the best tag team together. But literally, when I saw Jay and Jimmy come out to be a tag team for the first time in over a year, I couldn't believe it because literally, I thought they weren't going to do it again. And literally, honestly, I thought Jimmy was right that Jay has to be his best self against Gunther. And literally, when I saw Jimmy smack literally Gunther, I couldn't believe it. And literally Gunther just took it. But literally, my opinion, Jay and Jimmy are honestly the best tag team. That's my honest opinion. And literally, me and my friend Randy are going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about Cody Rhodes and John Cena. Their segment was awesome because literally, their segment was honestly one of the best. And I thought we were going to get a preview of Wrestlemania 41 between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. That's my opinion. I really thought we were going to get a preview. John Cena is the GOAT of wrestling. And my friend Randy has his Undisputed Championship belt. He's going to show it to you guys. So here's my friend Randy. So Randy, what do you think of Jimmy and Jay tagging up for the first time in over a year since they beat Roman in Solo?
Well, I had a feeling because when Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were like ganging up on Jey Uso on Raw, and then because his twin brother is on SmackDown, so I knew if there was going to be a tag match because the first match was Grayson Waller versus Jey Uso. Grayson Waller lost. Then it was Austin Theory versus Jey Uso. Austin Theory lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a feeling Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were going to have a match with Jey Uso and a tag team partner of Jey Uso's choosing. So I already knew Jay was going to pick Jimmy Uso, his twin brother, because I feel like it's Road to WrestleMania. Why the heck not? Got to get out of the ring rust as a tag team because Jimmy and Jay, they were the greatest twin tag team of all time. They won multiple tag team championships on different occasions, from the the gold penny title, from the SmackDown title, from the Raw tag title to the Undisputed on different occasions.
True.
And then they lost it to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania because you know how wrestling is. They have to push the talent. They cannot be selfish talent because you have to see other talent grow as a team. So
True.
And just seeing Jimmy and Jay just coming back as a tag team over a year since they faced Solo Sikoa and Roman, it was an amazing feeling. But I was shocked that they didn't come out of the Usos theme song, but they came out of the main event Jey Uso, and they just rocked with it. But I was laughing when Jimmy just smacked the taste out of Gunther, and then
Gunther just took it.
No, it was like before he left, Jimmy says, "Me, you, next week." He said, "You got it," and then when Jimmy walked out, he just started laughing. He's just like, "So I have a feeling I know what's gonna happen to Jimmy." So I feel like Gunther is gonna push Jay after Gunther beats the living heck out of Jimmy, and that's gonna push Jay's limits to face Gunther at WrestleMania and dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania and become the real main event of Jey Uso, because, like, yes, he was the main event of Jey Uso when he left the bloodline, but, like, you know, he won a mid card. That's not a main event title. Mid card is not a main event title.
That's true.
This is a main event title if you're a part of the WWE, but yeah, like sometimes the mid card titles can be part of the main events, but like it's just not a common title to be a main event. Like the tag titles more likely main events at certain points, but the undisputed title, the world heavy title, are more of the main events than the United States, the Intercontinental title, the tag titles, the
United States title.
I already said that, but the women now they have the women's United States, the women Intercontinental title. They have the women's World Heavyweight Championship. They have the women's World title. They have the women's tag. Then they have the women's NXT title, the women's North American title, which I actually think that was a smart choice to make a women's North American, make an NXT mid card, because they already took away the women's tag titles after Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez lost it to Toxic Attraction, and then Toxic Attraction lost it to Roxanne. No, then they lost it to freaking Raquel and someone. Oh, and what's her name on freaking Damage Control? Freaking whatever her name is, But no, I feel like they should never take away the women's tag away from the NXT brand, because, you know, now they just have the men's tag, and then they just have the women's NXT title and the North American, and they already have one woman as a double champion on the main card of the women's, with the North American and the women's NXT title. So now they have no one else with a title, so they just have the women's NXT title with the North American title, which is so stupid. But I feel like Raquel should have won the women's Intercontinental title from Lyra Valkyrie, because, you know, Lyra already been holding it for a while, and they should really push someone else. And Raquel never won a WWE main title.
Yeah.
Right now. She's only been NXT champion and NXT tag champ. She was actually it's Dakota Kai. She was NXT tag champ with Dakota Kai, and she was NXT women's champion. So she's only won tag titles and the NXT women's title, but she's never won the women's world champion or the the WWE women's championship. But she's only won the women's tag title with Liv multiple times, which I love Liv, but I just feel like, you know, Liv had the push with the SmackDown women's title and the women's world title, and she had to push with the tag titles multiple times. But where's Raquel's push?
That's true.
Where's her push as a women's champion? She had that on NXT, but she hasn't had that on the main roster. So, like, I have to say, you know, the person doesn't want us to say his name. I'm going to kind of respect that, but I agree with him. Liv is holding her back, and I love Liv, but, like, they really need to let Raquel shine. And losing to, Valerie, Kyra Valerie, however you have to pronounce her name?
Yeah.
That was a pathetic loss. Like, a freaking fruit roll-up into a pin. Like, that's like the lamest lose. And then Bailey, hey, we want some Bailey.
That's true.
Then Bailey comes out and saves Lyra. Like, she can handle herself. She beat a freaking big, tall woman.
That's true. So, Randy, what did you think of Cody Rhodes and John Cena's segment?
So, Randy's baseball vlogs. What do you want to talk about? Okay, so I agree with you. I really thought that we were gonna have WrestleMania moment where before WrestleMania starts that there was gonna be a brawl against Shawn and Cody. I really thought that too.
It looked like it because John was blowing at his hand.
That's just what John said to the freaking crowd. And then Cody comes out, he came out with respect, everything, whatever, and then it got heated, and then he took off his vest, he ripped his shirt, and then he took the W title, put it on the ground, whatever. So here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize when a person is WWE champ, they disrespect the main card title. Like they just toss the title on the ground. But John Cena respects the title. Cody respects the title. He placed it down. He strapped the sides and just placed it down, facing respected. Roman, when he had the feud with Cody last year, the year before, he placed the title down. He made it put it down aggressive, but he placed it down respectfully aggressive. But he laid it down on the mat respectfully.
It's true.
Not a lot of people respect the main card titles. But I can understand the mid card titles. You don't respect that because you want to be the main card. You want to be the world champ. You want to be the main champ.
That's true.
But all I have to say is, Cody, love you. You've done really good with the WWE title, but please just give John what he wants. I would say he got screwed. Either John or Jay deserved that Royal Rumble win, but then John sold out to The Rock.
I was just shocked by that. And what do you think of it that we're almost to WrestleMania?
Insane. Baseball season is right around the corner. WrestleMania season right around the corner. It's insane. But it's kind of cool that it's going to be in Las Vegas. I always wanted to go to Las Vegas. Like they say, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Cody, if you lose, I still love you. You did great as champion. Don't ever say your road as being WWE Championship will never happen again. You came a long way. You had two Royal Rumbles. You won back to back. No one can ever say they won back to back Royal Rumbles.
That's true.
No one can say they have done that. If you look in the record books, Stone Cold won multiple Royal Rumbles. I don't think he won back-to-back Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
But I think, let me just look it up because that would be a good thing to do that. The first and ever on Brendan's baseball vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
Looking up the freaking stuff. See if anyone else won before Cody won back-to-back Royal Rumbles. Let's see. So has anyone...
Yeah.
One
back. It was a really good segment, though.
Back Royal. Okay, let's see what the money makes. If it was just Cody Rhodes or there was someone else. Okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin holds the record for the most victories at their 3 achieved in the 1998, the 2001, and the Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and Batista. But Cody Rhodes, okay. Okay, so Cody, okay, so there is... Okay, so... Okay, so... Let's see... But, okay, so... Okay... I thought I saw it, but on... Okay, so... 4 to win back-to-back matches. Okay, so... World champion. Okay, so...
I'm guessing Cody's the only
Rhodes
one.
has the only 4... Oh, wait. So there's 4 people to win back-to-back. So... Okay, so Cody Rhodes and Charlotte Flair's have won all the matches twice with Hulk Hogan, Michaels, Austin, and Rhodes as the only four. Okay, so Cody Rhodes, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and all Stone Cold Steve Austin is the only four who's won back-to-back Royal Rumbles, but Charlotte Flair has won back-to-back WrestleMania. No, Charlotte Flair only won two Royal Rumbles as a women's Royal Rumbles, but not back-to-back.
Yeah.
So no woman has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles, but so Cody Rhodes and four others have won back-to-back Royal Rumbles. So it's Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Cody Rhodes. So congratulations, Cody Rhodes, for being the fourth member of the back-to-back Royal Rumble wins.
That's
so
true.
Never say never being back in the spotlight, because you are a generation superstar. So the WWE does like generation superstars in the WWE.
That's true. So my honest opinion, the Seth Roman Punk segment from SmackDown was awesome. Roman called out Punk and called out Rollins. And then Rollins came out and called out Roman. And then Punk called out both of them. And then he called out Paul Heyman and literally winked at him. And I literally was like, wow, we are really going to get Punk versus Roman versus Rollins at WrestleMania. My honest opinion, me and my friend Randy predicted that. And literally, I knew we were going to get that kind of a match at WrestleMania. And literally, I honestly think Roman's going to win that match. And I'd be fine with Roman or Punk to win it. But literally, Roman needs to win it and then go on to get his championship back. But literally, it was an awesome segment with Roman and Paul. And then Seth, Roman, Paul. And then Punk. Literally, Punk saying, "You still owe me a favor, Paul." And literally, when you saw that, I was like, oh, dang, this actually is happening. And then when I hear the match is official, Roman, Rollins, Punk at WrestleMania, and then Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, it's like, I knew we were going to get it. And literally, my honest opinion, this is going to be a really good match at WrestleMania. Here's my friend Randy to talk about that. So, Randy, what did you think of that segment on SmackDown and a little bit of Punk's segment today?
Okay, so since I don't have cable in my room, I had to watch it on YouTube. I already figured, like you said, we already called it about Roman, Seth, and CM Punk. Okay, we already called that because whatever happened on Raw with the steel cage with Punk and Seth. I did not expect, well, I kind of did expect the Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, where I did not expect where he says, I hear voices in my head. They count to me. They understand.
Yeah.
So I like that because he has said that line multiple times, but he also said that line with the Bray Wyatt in his feud when he said it to Alexa Bliss, which that was a great feud. I like that feud with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, but now I can like the feud with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton.
That's true. And I honestly think Randy Orton's going to win.
Which I'm going to enjoy watching Randy Orton kick Kevin Owens' skull off his freaking head.
Yeah. And what did you think of the Roman calling out Rollins and Punk, and then Rollins calling out Roman, and then Punk calling out Paul, calling out Roman, and calling out Rollins?
Okay, so like I said, Seth, you're a goddamn crybaby. I'm gonna see how it is. Oh, boo-hoo, you lost your freaking World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania last year. Well, Drew had a point. You should have focused on the match with him and you. And then you blame Sami Zayn for teaming up with Roman Reigns, which is called Sami Oos.
That's true.
But didn't you created the monster of Roman Reigns before Sami Zayn did the same shiznit that you did. So, for point frankly, you cannot blame anybody else but yourself for your mistake. Because if you look at it, Roman did not stab you in the back when you were part of the Shield. You stabbed him and Dean Ambrose, aka John Mox, in the back.
True.
You need to take full responsibility for the monster that you created.
And what do you think of Punk calling out Rollins and Roman and Paul Heyman?
That was insane. I mean, he did say, I'm working with children. So, but if you look at it, I understand with what Punk says, because before the WWE was what it was before Punk left, Punk was a multi-time world champion. He had amazing feuds from Batista, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Cena, Undertaker, Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger, aka Jack Hager on AEW, which no one has seen him anymore. The worst wrestler at AEW. But Punk had so many good feuds. But he did call out Seth, Dean, and Roman when they were the Shield in 2013 from Throwback Monday Night Raw.
Saying, you can't beat me without each other's help.
Yeah, but the Shield didn't help out each other because Roman beat CM Punk by himself. But Seth needed help from the Shield.
That's true.
Seth can't beat Punk by himself. Roman can. Yeah, Seth, you call yourself the architect, but you couldn't beat Punk in 2013. But Roman could. Why do you think Roman's called the powerhouse of the Shield?
Yeah, and what do you think of it? Then Punk said, thank you for delivering Roman on this platter. And saying, Paul, you still owe me a favor. And then
he also said, don't get confused about the tape on my hands, because we're not getting physical yet.
Yeah.
I was like, I already knew it was gonna go down, but I did not expect, like, when Roman pulls Seth off, and then Punk pulls Seth off, and then Roman puts CM Punk off, and then Punk pulls Roman off, and then pulls the shirt. But, like, I was really... And then Roman with the steel steps, that was insane. I was like, yo...
And they called it volcanic eruption. And it was.
It really was. But I'm like... I'm hoping Mania is not on Saturday, because I really want to watch it, because I work Saturday. So
and it is Saturday and Sunday, they said.
Bitch. Well, I could always... Well, I have Peacock, so it doesn't really matter, so...
Yeah. And
well, Saturday at 7 o'clock, so it's in Vegas, so I won't have an issue.
True. And what do you think of the Judgment Day?
Okay, so the Judgment Day is crumbling. I mean, I like the faction where Liv and Raquel's part of it, but they need to add more women to the faction, because, like, they really need to bring back Rhea. They do need to bring back Damian, because it's not the same without Damian and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Rhea and Liv working together on Judgment Day. I was like, okay, so when the Judgment Day was captioning, like, when Edge started it, the Radar Superstar, before he dropped the gimmick of the Radar Superstar, and he was doing the cult leader of, like, the Judgment Day, and
yeah,
I feel like he was inspired by Jeff Hardy as the Antichrist of professional wrestling from TNA Wrestling. So that's where Edge came up with that idea as the Judgment Day, and he was starting this, and he did the same freaking haircut as Jeff Hardy, which got really odd to me. So I was just like,
yeah. And what do you think of how Finn almost attacked Dominic?
So I feel like, like, he was kind of annoyed that he went behind Finn's back, but, like, Dom had perfect reason to do that, because they needed more recruits, because It's just Carlito, JD, Finn, and Dom. And then it's just Raquel, Liv.
Yep.
There's two titles in the Judgement Days to win the tag titles.
That's true.
Nothing else in the Judgment Days. So, and Dom made a good point. If you're part of the Judgment Days, there's more coming for you for championships.
True.
Because if you look at it, Finn had a title, Damian had a title, Rhea had a title, and Dom had a title. The only person that did not have a title was JD. But after they kicked out Rhea and Damian, then it was JD and Finn that had a title. And then what happened? They lost because they have no powerhouse to the Judgment Day.
That's true.
They really need a male powerhouse to the Judgment Day, because if they don't have that, they're not. Every faction needs a powerhouse. Like the Shield, they had Roman; he was a powerhouse. From
like Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman from the Wyatt family, yeah, Braun Strowman was the powerhouse of the Wyatt family. But if you look at it from Showmiz, Jericho,
Fatu.
No, it's not about just like normal tag teams, like not So when it was Chris Jericho, Big Show was the powerhouse of that tag team. When it was Showmiz and which was the Miz and Big Show was the powerhouse of the Miz.
And I do want to thank you for doing the sports interview about everything. Plus, this will be in YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and everything.
Yeah, if you haven't forgot, like, subscribe, and hit that follow button, and we'll give you more sports content of wrestling, baseball, basketball, football, you name it. And if you want us to talk about other sports, comment down below and tell us what sports we should talk about next besides wrestling. And we kindly thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.